idea of, how you'll do in English 1510. So again, what I'm saying is, do your best to write as organized of an essay as possible for this. And, I'm going to be with you, of course, every step along this journey. And we're going to do it the same as we did with our instructor chosen essay, meaning we're going to write a first draft, a second draft, and then a final draft. All right. So, you know, just like we did with our first essay, your instructor chosen essay, again, it's just important that you use your first draft to get your ideas out. All right. And if you haven't had a chance to look at the prompt yet, that's cool. We're about to look at it right now. I am currently on our D2L page and I'm in the week 8 module. All right. And it contains all of this this material about our common essay, but I just want to open this one, English 1060 common essay, Born a Crime. This semester is winter.
Quick question. When do you think that our essays will be back?
Oh, it's Monday, you guys are having.
Okay, for sure, for sure.
Okay. It says summer, but we're just gonna ignore that. We're just gonna ignore that. All right. So we've been using this prompt for we've been using this one for a minute. But we're actually summer term, unfortunately, will be the last semester of Born a Crime. All right. I forgot the name of the new book already, but we're going to be using a new book. Yeah. Okay. So I'll get this one uploaded as well. The one on D2L, it says summer, but it's the same thing. All right. So here's our common essay. Okay, there's young Trevor and his mother, right? Looks like he's eating a chicken on a stick or something like that. All right, but the first draft of this essay. All right, what do I have Thursday? Actually, no, I wanted to give you all some time to get this draft together. All right, so the first draft of this essay, draft number 1. Draft number 1 of your common essay is going to be due March 21st, which is a Monday. All right, not this coming Monday, but the Monday after. All right, so we got time. We got time to put this thing together. We got time to talk about, what we need to talk about. All right, so here's our prompt, right? A reviewer from the Washington Post called Born a Crime, Stories of a South African Childhood, quote, a love letter to Noah's mother. A reader cannot deny the love the author has for her son. Should be his son. That typo has been in there every time I've gone over this for the last few semesters, and I still haven't changed it or talked to the coordinator about it. All right, because the reason it's called the common essay. We all do the same essay, no matter who the teacher is, right? Like every class that's reading this book, Royal Oak, Southfield, I think they're reading this in Orchard Ridge. Like we're all doing the same, we're all using the same prompt. All right. So here's your job for this essay. And it's what I've been asking you to look at in your annotations, for the past couple weeks or so. All right. But here's your job. In a well-developed essay, citing specific examples from the book, that part's important. Discuss some of the ways in which Noah's mother shows her love for her son. And notice, my good people, it doesn't say show all of the ways, all right? So our job is not to summarize the whole book for this essay. Our job is to pick out a few examples of how of how Patricia shows her love for Trevor and discuss them. That's it. So my advice before you even get started on your essay, before you even get started putting ideas to a paper in a draft, I think the first thing you can do for this essay is start thinking about the specific examples that you would like to discuss or that you could possibly discuss in a paper. And it's also in your best interest just to, whatever comes to mind, whatever examples come to mind. And know that you don't have to use all those examples, but again, it's just better to have more material than you need, all right, for this essay, okay? So in a well-developed essay citing specific examples from the book, discuss some of the ways in which Noah's mother shows her love for her son. All right, we're almost done with the book. We should be at page 203, and we're going to read a couple more chapters, and then there's only going to be one more reading after that. So we're just about done, with our book, right? So, but even if we're not done with it just yet, we've read enough to at least get started on this essay. All right. And then a challenge I always issue to students once we finish a book, right? Don't let this be the last book you read this year. Okay. So you should already be thinking about what you're gonna read next. All right. Meaning like don't wait for your teacher to assign something, for you in order for you to read something. Right. Now, here's a significant difference from what we just did. This essay, right, should be 4 pages, okay, not including a works cited page. Okay, so it's a little bit of a step up from what we did, but it's something that we're all ready for this. Okay, we're all ready for this challenge. All right, and again, this looks like the kinds of essays you'll be doing in 1510. All right, make sure it's double spaced. Okay, 12-point Times New Roman, just standard MLA stuff. All right, 1-inch margins, more MLA stuff. Now, here's how we're getting a little bit different. Okay, we know we need MLA formatting, right, for titles, meaning like the titles of a book are italicized. All right, but now this is something that we haven't done before, or we haven't done officially, right? Some of you have been doing this in your reading questions, which I thought I think is a great thing. But now, this next paper has to have some cited material from our book. So that's something we'll definitely cover before you get too deep into writing this essay. All right, in-text citations. But for us, for the most part, our in-text citations are going to be simple because we're only using one source. I don't want you to use any like internet information. You don't have to bring in any other books, like if you go to the library or something, you don't have to bring any other texts. Like everything you need to put this essay together can come from Born a Crime. But with that being said, you're going to need in-text citations. And for the most part, like I said, our in-text citations will look like this. All right. So let's just say this is a quote. I should just use the, I'm going to show you what this looks like in a paragraph in a minute here anyway. All right. But here's your quote, and then here's your citation. All right. And then after you do this once, okay, since we're only using the one book, after you put the author's last name and page number once, everyone after that would just be the page number. But though I'll show you how that looks in a little bit. All right, like within a paragraph. Okay, and then you need a works cited page. A works cited page is going to be simple as well because there's only going to be one entry on there, and I'll show you how to format it. All right, but that stuff, that's more like I'm going to show you how to do it before you work on your first draft. But really, I'll be looking at that stuff more in draft number 2. For draft number 1, I really just want you all to focus on getting your content together. All right, and definitely getting those specific examples from the book. All right. Now, Okay, here's just some tips. Okay, make sure your essay starts with an intro paragraph. Okay, I'll show you what one looks like in a little bit. All right, but your introduction paragraph. Okay, and this is like most introduction paragraphs, and I say most because there's exceptions to every rule. All right, but most introduction paragraphs contain 3 elements. Okay, 3 elements, right? There's an attention grabber, something that captures the reader's attention. Could be an interesting quote, right? Martin Luther King once said, Nelson Mandela once said, blah, 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 blah. Then you go into your quote. You know, could just be some kind of relatable statement. Don't start your essay with "have you ever," right? Don't even matter what it said, what you're gonna say after "have you ever." Just don't start like that. All right. So you need an attention grabber, or you may have heard it referred to as a hook. Okay. Then you need some background. Okay. For these essays, it can just be 3 to 4 pages about sentences. Okay, not pages. It could just be 3 to 4 pages about the book. 3 or 4 sentences, just like a 3 to 4 sentence synopsis. Like if someone was to ask you, like, what's Born a Crime about? Like, how would you break it down for them? But you don't have all day, right? So maybe just 3 to 4 sentences. Okay. Some background. All right. Also in your background, something that you have to do. You have to. And the earlier you do it in your essay, the better off you are. Okay. You must mention the title and author, right? Somewhere in your introduction. Okay. Title and author have to be in your introduction. All right. So we have 2 elements, right? You need a hook. Then you need some background. All right. The final thing you need, and this is again sort of a change of direction from the essay we just did. All right. You need a clear thesis statement. I'm going to show you some examples of thesis statements. I don't care if you use the examples. All right. Just kind of make them your own, but you can use the same ideas. I don't care. And then our essays, there's going to be some overlap since we're all writing about the same thing. All right. So yeah, intro, right? Hook, background, thesis statement. Thesis statement is just the main idea of the essay. Okay. Thesis statement is going to keep you organized, right? Clear, logical organization. That just means your essay has a clear introduction with a thesis statement, body paragraphs that support your thesis statement, and then has a conclusion, right? That is good. That is actually going to be one of those benchmark skills that you need before you get out of English 1060. Like nobody's expecting you to write, you know, perfect papers. We don't even expect that of our 1510 students, or any student for that matter. But like organization is one of the skills that you're going to have to be showing. Even if you're showing that skill is still developing, it has to be there. Like if your essay, like the final draft, if it's all one long paragraph, that's not going to bode well for you. So organization is something that, you know, we should definitely put our focus on for this essay. Okay. And really, you know, just think about it. It's that same 5 paragraph model that you learned a million years ago, right? Whether it's in elementary, middle school, whenever. Like intro, body, conclusion. All right. The only difference with these essays, we're just going to have more body paragraphs. So instead of 3 body paragraphs, we're going to have as many body paragraphs as we need. All right. Or you can look at, I always use a sandwich analogy, like your top piece of bread is your intro. You know, whatever you like in your salad, your sandwich. I said salad because I eat veggie sandwiches. All right, whatever you like in your sandwich. All right, that's the body of it, and then the bottom bun, right, the bottom piece of bread, that's your conclusion. All right, so I think if you just keep that model in mind, okay, intro, body paragraphs, conclusion, all right, you'll be fine. And that's the model for any essay. Right? When you get to 1510, you know, all of your essays are going to need an introduction, with a thesis statement, all of them are going to need body paragraphs, and all of them are going to need conclusions, no matter what the essay is about, right? So that's why organization is such an important skill that we want you all to be showing before you get to, or by the time you get to English 1510. It's something that you'll continue to work on in English 1510, but we at least got to see that skill, starting to emerge. All right. And, we'll work on that from draft to draft to draft, no matter where you are. All right. Makes use of appropriate transition words, includes appropriate MLA formatting in the body of the essay for direct quotes and paraphrases, and at the end of the essay via a works cited list. All right. That's something that's not going to make or break anybody as far as like passing this class, but it is something that we want to start, want you guys to start, again, just start showing signs of. All right. And truthfully, I go over this same material in 1510. So, but it helps, if you have like some background. And again, we'll go over it. All right. This is important. Good. Has paragraphs that focus on one main idea that is addressed in the topic sentence and further explained in the rest of the paragraphs. That is all about organization. So when you think of the body of your essay, okay, when you think about like body paragraphs, you always want to start with the topic sentence. And the topic sentence it just states the main idea. Okay. And use that topic sentence to stay organized, right? So let's say hypothetically, right? My battery's going on my mouse. Okay, now, let's say this is the start of a body paragraph, right? Patricia shows her love for Trevor by teaching him to rise above his surroundings. Okay, now in your mind, right? You're thinking, okay, what's an example? I told my reader that Patricia showed her love for Trevor by teaching him to rise above his surroundings, right? I just told them that, but now how can I show them? How can I show them with an example? Okay.
Oh, when she pushed him off when she pushed him out of that one car in the beginning of the book, like the very first story, like that was one.
Okay, you can use that. What's another example of her showing him how to rise above his surroundings? Meaning, like, just because we're from here doesn't mean we have to stay here. But Bathsheba?
Okay.
Sent him to a prestigious school to teach him how to introduce him to other ideas from the world that he didn't grow up in.
All right.
Yeah, also the different churches too, when she's taking them to different churches. What is it talking about?
Okay. I got you, Thomas. Now, here's the thing. And then Bathsheba gave us an example as well. Here's the thing, though, my good people, because both of those were all those were good examples. All right. All of those were good examples. And when you're putting this paper together, think of each example being the foundation of a paragraph, meaning you only want to use one example per paragraph, right? So Bathsheba, you told us, that Patricia, sent him to good schools, right? That could be one paragraph. And then you also mentioned, that she wanted to open his mind. Because when I came up with this topic sentence, I was thinking about how she encouraged him to read, right? Another example of that would be even just giving him the name Trevor, right? Or any other example that you can think of. But something that, you know, I want you to keep in mind as you're brainstorming this, right? You know, try to, you know, limit your paragraphs to one example. So the example about, you know, sending Trevor to good schools, right? That could be described in one paragraph, right? The example, Thomas, you mentioned about being thrown from the car, that could be in an additional paragraph, okay? The example about, you know, giving him the name Trevor, again, another paragraph, and so on and so forth. So try to build your paragraphs around, you know, one example, because if you put multiple examples in the same paragraph, you're going to run out of material before you get to 4 pages. All right. And I'll show you what a body paragraph looks like in a second. All right. Another way to envision your body paragraphs, right? And this is a concept I'll be discussing over the next couple classes, actually. Another way to organize your body paragraphs is using a formula called pi paragraphs. All right. Pi just means point, information, explanation. Your point is your topic sentence. Okay. Point's your topic sentence. Information, right, would be some example. So if we were to continue fleshing out this paragraph, we could discuss, right, how Patricia, you know, sent him to nicer schools because she was very, you know, very adamant about him achieving an education. So maybe we discuss an example from the book, and in that example, we include a quote. All right, that's fine. All right, but what you don't want to do in an essay, especially an essay like this, you don't want to start or end a body paragraph with the quote. Okay, Shamitra, you had a question?
Yeah, so we can use some quotes.
Yeah, you got to. All right, but
From the book though, right?
Yeah, definitely. Okay, you don't want to overquote, but you do have to use some quoted material.
Okay.
All right, definitely. All right, so if I was to keep going in this paragraph, I would definitely include a quote. All right, but you always want to follow up a quote with your own words, right? And that's your explanation. Okay. And again, I'll show you one of these paragraphs in action. All right, but you don't get in the habit of starting body paragraphs with quotes or ending body paragraphs with quotes. Always start and end with your own words. Okay. Quotes can be within your paragraphs, but always start with the topic sentence and always end with some kind of like concluding sentence of your own. All right, and I'll show you. I'll show you what that looks like. Okay. Topic sentences are important. Okay. Remains on topic from beginning to end. This essay, no personal experiences in here. You know, no I think, I feel, in my opinion, none of that in this essay. Okay. So just stay on topic. Okay. And, you know, just like in math, you know, when your teacher tells you to check your work, we can do that in writing as well. The way we check our work in English is we go back to our thesis statement. Okay. Am I sticking to my thesis statement? Right. So if we say, well, no, I'll show you some thesis statements in a second. And then finally, your final draft, we aren't even worried about this right now. Okay. But when you get to the final draft, and we're going to start, you know, to this end, we're going to start doing more of our inquisitive exercises now that we've reached the common essay. All right. But yeah, just make sure your final draft is edited to the best of your ability. But again, we're not even there yet. All right. We're just in the very early stages of brainstorming and then getting that first rough draft together. And your first rough draft is probably going to be that, you know, rough. And that's fine, you know, for this essay. And remember, just as with your first essay, with the writing process, your first draft isn't the final draft. So don't put like unnecessary pressure on yourself. Okay. Keep looking out the window, man. It's Discovery Channel going on out there. You're having a party. I think I saw an opossum. Like I'll never see those in the day. All right, now we're going back into the Common Essay or the week 8 module. All right, here's some stuff about pie paragraphs, explanations, but I'm gonna go back over those. Right now, I just want to go over this document. And everybody has access to this. And this has a few example thesis statements on here that you can use. All right, and it also has just some paragraphs that I'll introduce tonight, and then we'll talk further about them in the just in our coming sessions. Found out that deer like apples. All right. Yeah, sometimes if I have an apple that's starting to turn a little bit, like I'll throw it out there too. Really like it.
To the deers.
Yeah, they like apples, man.
Yeah, they gonna keep coming on back.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Okay, deer bring the coyotes though.
See?
Yeah, it's a little buffet for the coyotes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. I was coming down Lasser and I just saw some coyote just crossing the street nonchalantly. All right.
Yeah, I'm scared of them.
Yeah,
They don't look like they gonna move. They look like, what you gonna do?
yeah.
Cause I'm finna go over here, and I'm
Yeah.
in
Yeah,
my
you know,
way.
I let them do their thing, and they're nice to look at, but like I know my boundaries, man. Like I respect nature enough to leave it be.
Yeah.
All right. So now this handout, right? This document is called Common Essay Strategies, and it has some paragraphs. All right. And it just has some notes also. Okay. So it's just what I said, about your intro. Provide hook, attention grabber, something to reel your reader in. You don't have to spend like hours and hours and hours trying to think of the perfect thing to say, but also, try to start in a way that that's going to keep your reader reading. Okay, and really think about what would keep you reading. All right. Introduce the subject of the paper, meaning like give some background. Here, I said 3 elements, but it's like 3.5, I guess. Because we like our 0.5 is we're going to mention the title and author. All right. And that's with any book or any text you're writing about. You do want to mention the title and author early. And then finally, thesis statement. Thesis statement, not all the time, okay, but 99% of the time. And I know, like, especially when you get to count 1, it's probably going to be 100% of the time. But I'm saying 99% of the time because, again, there's always exceptions to every rule. But most of the time, your thesis statement is the last sentence of your introduction. Okay, like 9 times out of 10. The only way it wouldn't be is if you're writing something longer, and maybe it's at the end of your second paragraph. Okay, but that's rare. Also, you'll sometimes have an implied thesis statement where it's not really stated, but your reader can gather what you're talking about. But for us, we're going straight up traditional, meaning our thesis statement is going to be the last sentence. All right, and here's an intro. Okay, it's just short and sweet. All right, and it's short and sweet, but it also, and when you're putting your own together, you can have like a mental checklist, right? Okay, do I have an attention grabber? Okay, did I mention the title and author? Right? Did I give a little background? You don't have the space to retell the whole book, and that's not even your job for this essay. Okay, but did I mention the title and author? Did I give some background? And then do I have a thesis statement? All right, take yourself through that mental checklist. Okay, and then here's your heading, the same one we've been using throughout the semester. All right, but here's an intro. Okay, It can be said that a mother's love is one of the most powerful forces in the world. Okay. So the attention grabber was just something that, you know, people can relate to. Okay. Or you know, many people in the audience. All right. That love can come in various forms, but most mothers share the drive to keep their children safe. So maybe you're starting with a quote, right? You know, Nelson Mandela once said, and then you have the quote in there, and then you maybe have a sentence or two of you kind of reflecting on that quote. Okay. Assuring a child's safety is a challenge for any parent, but for mothers raising children in oppressive societies, that challenge is intensified. Okay, now we're starting to get more specific. So we started off with a general statement about a mother's love, and then we're getting more specific, a mother's love where there's oppression, or a mother's love through difficult times. Okay. So your intro, it just goes from general to specific, right? And it's most specific when you hit your thesis statement. Okay. But now, right, moving on to another checkpoint or another checkbox, right? Author and title. Trevor Noah was born to crime. And the first time you put the title, put the whole thing. All right. And now mine is underlined, but I just did that for effect. Okay. You can underline your title because that's technically right, but that's real old school. Okay. Titles are italicized. All right. Just go up to these options and then hit this little thing. All right, and it'll italicize. Okay. You don't have to italicize the author. All right, but just the title. All right, and again, you don't have to underline this. I just underlined it for just because I'm using it as an example. All right, and when I'm in the classroom, it's on the overhead projector, so you don't have to underline. I just did that for the effect. Okay, but you do have to mention the title and author. Trevor Noah was born to crime, stories from a South African childhood, details the complex relationship between Trevor and his mother as she struggled to raise him in a society deeply divided by race and class. Okay. That's it. You don't have to say a ton of things about the book in your intro, right? Because your job is not to write a summary for this essay. Okay. The job isn't to write a summary. It's not to summarize the entire book. So when you're in your introduction paragraph, ask yourself, what does the reader need to know? Okay. They just need to know that, just a basic idea of what this book is about. Okay. And that's what it is. It's about this relationship between a mother and his son, you know, in some perilous times. Right. Okay. And then this next sentence is kind of the setup for the thesis statement. So I am going to give a little background about Trevor's upbringing, right? Born to a Xhosa mother and a Swiss father. Noah was, quote, born to crime as interracial unions were outlawed in apartheid South Africa. Okay. That's it. They don't need to know more than that. Okay. Noah would experience the harsh realities of being poor, colored, just to use the language of that society or that culture, and estranged from his father, but his mother, Patricia, was always there to provide love or support and love. Now, this is what we've been building up to, right? It's our thesis statement. Here's the main idea. Now, once I'm committed to this idea, all of my body paragraphs have to do what this sentence told them to do. So think about your thesis statement as like the boss of your entire paper, because it tells every other body paragraph what to do. All right. Or another analogy I use is, think of your thesis statement as an invisible fence. Okay. You can't go outside of that fence. Okay. Now, even though your first draft of this thing is not due for about a week and some change, I encourage you to come up with your thesis statement as early as you can,
Mhm.
right? And then your thesis statement can always go through revisions. You can always change it. Okay, you can always tweak it a little bit. All right, that's fine. But I think it's important just to get that basic idea out, right? So your thesis statement, it presents your essay's main idea and it keeps your writing organized. Tells your reader, hey reader, this is what my essay is going to be about. How Patricia's tough love showed him how to survive in a hostile environment. Not just survive, but thrive. So that's what my body paragraphs are going to be about. Every body paragraph is going to be an example of this, right? So now I'm going back in my book. I'm looking at my annotations, right? I'm even going back over some old reading questions that may relate to this. Okay, I'm thinking about ideas. I'm thinking about examples, right? Examples of Patricia using tough love. And then Thomas, you mentioned being thrown from that car. Okay, that would be a great way to start this paper, right? That would be a great first body paragraph. Okay, because that is tough love, man. Like the kids could have sustained some injuries, but overall, they stayed alive. Okay, now this is what I was talking about. Like I said, I'll give you some examples of thesis statements that you can use. I don't mind if you use these. Okay. I don't mind if you add stuff to it, right? That's cool. Matter of fact, do make them your own, if you use one of these things. But these are just examples that show a main idea of a paper. Trevor's mother's parenting may seem unorthodox, but she always showed Trevor that he was loved. So this paper, if it was to be fully developed, would be about some of the outside of the box ways that Patricia showed her love to Trevor. This next one, right? Trevor's mother's love helped him navigate poverty as a child, guided him through a racist society, and showed him that anything was possible. Okay. Now, this statement, it has what's called a plan of development, meaning it lays out what you're going to talk about in the order that you're going to talk about it. Okay. How did her love help him navigate poverty? How did it guide him through a racist society? How did it show him that anything is possible? Okay. And then here's one that's short and sweet. Patricia's love prepared Trevor to survive in a harsh world. That's cool. Okay. Show your reader how in your paper. And then finally, although living through racism and poverty was a challenge, Trevor Noah's mother used tough love to teach him some valuable life lessons. Okay. Whatever thesis statement you come up with, again, that's the idea you're locked into. So that's a good thesis statement also is going to prevent you from doing a summary. Because instead of telling your reader everything in the book, you've just made your job a little bit easier. Because now, okay, how does she show him? Right? What unorthodox ways does she use? Right? How does she prepare to live in a harsh world? So again, you don't have to retell the whole book, and a good thesis statement will help you, help you achieve that, or help you avoid, retelling the whole book. Okay. So again, like I said, I think, and really in my 1510 classes, for all of their essays, except, the personal essay I have to begin with, but for all of their essays, I do have them come up with their thesis statement first as part of their brainstorm. Okay. So think about it. Okay. Think about the main idea you want to express in your paper. Okay. Do you have to choose one of these? Of course not. No. Okay. Come up with your own idea. That's cool, right? Or like I was saying before, you can take one of these ideas and word it however you want to. That's fine as well. Okay. Now, I'll show you one body paragraph and then we'll call it until Monday. All right. We'll call it until Monday. Okay. Remember what I was saying before about starting each body paragraph with a topic sentence. Okay. Just like your thesis statement says, hey, reader, here's what my paper is going to be about. Okay. Topic sentences say, hey, reader, here is what this paragraph is about, and only this. That's the key part of that, and only this, right? That's how we achieve paragraph unity, meaning like discuss one idea per paragraph, okay? Or one example per paragraph, if you want to break it down like that, okay? And now, even though your paragraphs are going to include some quoted material, just remember the majority of your paragraphs is going to be in your own words. Okay, your voice should always dominate your paper, no matter what you're writing about. Okay, so you need a topic sentence and you need supporting details that connect to that develop your topic sentence. So now, even though your paper is not a summary, you're still going to be telling your reader what happened. The difference between this paper and an all-out summary, you're only going to be discussing the examples that are related to your thesis statement, okay? For example, right, let's look at this body paragraph, okay? Trevor's mother, Patricia. By this time, it would already be established that Patricia is Trevor's mother, so Trevor's mother, so you wouldn't have to say it. But I just said it again for effect. Trevor's mother, Patricia, often used tough love to protect him. Okay, and then Thomas, you gave us that example of being thrown from the car. Again, that's a great example. That's a great example. All right, and like I said before, there's going to be some overlap in the papers because we're all writing about the same thing. So some of you will probably use the same examples. That's okay. All right. So we got our point, you know, if we're using the pie method. Okay. Our main idea. Trevor's mother often used tough love to protect him, right? So I just told the reader, I'm about to show you an example of Patricia using tough love to protect Trevor. Okay. And are we aligned with our thesis statement? Okay, tough love to discipline him, but her love helped him survive. Born a Crime opens, so now you're describing what happened, okay? In your own words, okay? Born a Crime opens with Trevor and his mother waiting for a minibus, okay? And in discussing your example, again, you're asking yourself, what does the reader need to know, right? Because you don't have the space to put every little detail about every example, right? So think about what they need to know, right? You know, if they want to know any more detail, they can read the book. Okay. There was no public transportation for Blacks at the time, so they often had to rely on the off the books system of busing that could sometimes be dangerous. Okay. So you don't have to say, you know, she was determined to go to church and, you know, all this and all that. Just say, you know, she was waiting for a minibus and it was dangerous. Okay. This particular time, Trevor and his mother finally get picked up, but Patricia senses that something isn't right. Again, the details you give about what isn't right about that, that's up to you, but you don't want to go for like an overkill. As they rode in the back of the car feeling uneasy, Patricia says, all right, here is a quote from our book. Okay.
I think I understand.
Say what now, Shmitch?
Oh, I was talking to myself. I think I understand the concept,
Yeah,
uh, tying in, um, the sentences so it can flow.
yeah.
Um,
And you know, I think again, just with this draft, the first draft, just get the examples in there. Because we can always go back and tailor, or we can always go back and revise it. Okay. So with this first draft, just get those examples in there. All right. And if you overquoted, we'll talk about that. Or if you didn't quote enough, we'll talk about that as you move into your next draft. But as I said, with our first essay, with this draft, this initial draft, just get your ideas out. Don't even worry about how it sounds just yet. Okay. And then quote to the best of your ability. Right. So this part, Patricia says, that's called a signal phrase. A signal phrase, it just tells your reader that you're about to quote something. And it also helps you fit quotes into your work smoothly, right? Patricia says, Trevor writes, whatever, okay? And I'll go over some additional examples of that.
okay, I did get a chance to look through the common essay stuff. I did have single phrase down, so you answer that. What about the partial S?
Partial sentence,
Yeah,
that's out, yeah. A partial sentence quotation would be, do I have it on here? Oh yeah, okay. So a partial sentence quotation is just when you, like, most of the sentence is your own words, but maybe you don't even want to quote a whole sentence from the book. You just want to quote a phrase, right? Because
yeah.
there's something that, like, if you put this in your own words, it would lose some of the effect, right? So while being interrogated about his friend Teddy, Trevor was surrounded by, quote, silent, stone-faced white authority figures. Okay. So this first part is your own wording, right? But you just wanted to capture it exactly how it was in the book, right?
Okay,
So that'll be a partial sentence quotation. Okay.
okay.
All right. Now, okay, Patricia says, Trevor, when he slows down at the next intersection, I'm gonna open the door and we're gonna jump. Okay. And just don't get too hung up on this on your first draft, but I do just want to cover the punctuation real quick. First, you have your signal phrase here. Okay. Make sure you put a comma after your signal phrase. Okay. And then when you're using quoted material from the book, just start and end with quotation marks. And your citation, this is called your in-text citation right here. Okay. This goes outside of your parentheses. Outside of your quotation marks. Right. And then if you can see it, right, the period goes outside of the citation. Right. You see there's no period right here. Okay. It always goes outside because technically this is the end of your sentence. Okay. Now, right? Now, again, what did I say? We never end with a quotation. Okay, we always follow up with our own words. Okay. So you can clarify for your reader. You can show them, you can explain what's happening. Okay. When Trevor hesitates, his mother throws him and his younger brother, Andrew, out of the car while it's still moving. Okay. She didn't throw him out. She kind of pushed him out. All right. All right. It may seem strange to read about a mother throwing her children from a moving car, but it was the only way to keep them safe. Trevor notes, you don't have to have multiple quotes in a paragraph. I just put this one in there because it's kind of short. Okay. And it also kind of speaks to just the overall danger that he faced just growing up and why he needed Patricia there, to keep him safe, during those early years, especially. Trevor notes, okay, again, got my signal phrase, got my comma, got my quotation marks. And then here, I only have the page number. Why is that? because we're only using one source, which is our book. And when you're only using one source, okay, when you're only using one source, the first time is author's last name and page number, okay? And look, it's just the author's last name, space, and then a page number, okay? Meaning like you don't need a comma, you don't need the number sign, you don't need PG, you don't need page or anything, right? Author's last name, space, page number, okay? Trevor notes, death was never far from anybody back then, okay? I see murder, man, death around the corner, all right? The crime of being a Xhosa woman with a mixed child endangered all of their lives. So Patricia risked giving her children a few bumps and bruises to keep them safe. Okay, and that's it for that paragraph. Okay, now, if I was to paste, right, this paragraph and this paragraph onto a blank page, that would take me probably to about maybe a couple lines into page 2. So what I'm saying is you only need a few examples to reach 4 pages. It might sound like a lot, but if you're like really describing what's happening, a few examples can take you to 4 pages. So if I was to keep this essay going, my next paragraph would have a different example, right? So my next paragraph could possibly start off like this. Trevor's mother also showed him tough love by letting him face the consequences of his actions when he was wrong. So this paragraph will be developed the same way this one was. The only difference is I would be showing my reader how Patricia let him suffer the consequences, right? And then I would have another paragraph about Patricia showing him tough love until I got to, 4 pages worth of content. Because that's what this paper is about, tough love. Okay, but your paper is gonna, your body paragraphs are gonna be about whatever your paper is about. Okay. Now, all right, the rest of this stuff is some MLA stuff, and there's a conclusion, but we'll go back over that material. From now until Monday, I just want you to be thinking about your thesis statement, and I want you to start thinking about some examples. Even if you aren't drafting your paper up just yet, think about your thesis statement, okay? And if you got some ideas, you can run them past me on Monday. All right. Now, okay, there's still more to be covered, all right, and more that I will cover. But I think we have enough to at least, again, start thinking about ideas and start thinking about your thesis statement. So the main drive for this paper is organization, and organization starts with your thesis statement, okay? And some of the main, or one of the main things you want to avoid is summarizing the entire book, okay? But I think if you work out what you're going to talk about beforehand, I think putting this essay together, it's going to be challenging. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but if you have a plan from the beginning, like, all right, I know a basic idea of my thesis statement, even though I'm still messing around with the wording, and I know the examples I want to use. Like if you have that, that's half the battle right there. Okay, that's half the battle. All right, now, all right, for Monday's class, okay, let me grab a book. I have us scheduled to go to page 243, but I think I'm gonna break that down just a little bit. Okay. Because we're on 203, right? And KFC. Okay, we're on 203. So we can go to. Let's go to 233. And there's a page break or a gap. So stop where it says the guards had given me. All right. And then you know, if you want to keep reading, you can, but stop at 233, not 243. No new reading questions at this point. There's only one more set of reading questions. And right now I want you to be thinking about your draft. Okay. Any questions for me? Okay. Again, this material that I'm looking at right now, this is all in that week 8 module. All right. So just think about it. Think about it, and you know, continue with the reading. And you know, if you've fallen behind a little bit in the reading, there's still time. There's still time to get caught up. Okay. Nobody's dead in the water just yet. All right. Now, this is the last thing before I let you go. Okay, I'm going back, like way back. All right. And let me get this oldie but goodie up. Okay, because now we should be checking stuff off of our checklist, right? Remember, folks, this is like your golden ticket to get out of here. And this is what, you know, puts you in the game, so to speak, right? So we should be able to check this one off, right? Midterm, done. Okay, if it's not done, get it done. All right. Instructor chosen reading strategy. You can check that one off because that one's just it's gonna be like our reading questions and stuff. So everybody can check that one off, right? Now, okay, it says 4 pages, but I know I only made 3 to 5 pages, so don't worry about that. But you should be able to check this one off too. Final draft of instructor chosen essay. Okay. Reflective letter, that's something we do like way at the end of the semester. Final copy of common essay, we're working on that. Impromptu, those are our final assessments, don't worry about that. And then finally, you should be able to check this one off too. All drafts of instructor chosen essay. Okay. That's where we are right now, folks. So what we have left, common essay and reflective letter, right? And then the final assessment, of course. Okay. So we're where we should be at this stage in the semester. All right. But if you couldn't check all that stuff off, okay, we need to talk. All right. So just shoot me an email, let me know what's up. Because it's still not too late for any of these. Okay. Any other thoughts before we get out of here, folks?
Yes, I'd like to speak to you after class.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
I do got a question.
Okay.
So this rough draft that we've got to do, it's got to be 4 pages.
No, rough draft is 3 pages. 3 pages. Try to get as close to 3 as you can. Okay. But I look at it like this, Shamitra. When the deadline comes, just turn in what you have.
Okay.
And know that there's going to be 2 more drafts.
Okay.
But when the deadline comes, just give me what you got.
Okay.